pressing environmental challenges as we may face them as we move along. To speak on the topic, ending ecocide, harnessing project management to restore Ghana's polluted water bodies and forest reserves, is the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, a person who needs no introduction at all. Please, let's welcome the engineer, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbey, of the renowned project management professional himself. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Mr. President, Mr. Guzutano, colleague project managers, ladies and gentlemen, it's really great to be here. If I throw my mind back to when we attempted to start PMI Ghana, the struggles we went through, and like all projects, we failed. But fortunately, we had the resilience, to be able to bounce back. And this is what we have here today. We deserve a really great round of applause. Right. So, my slides. I really wish I did not have to hold the microphone, because I'll be in my element. I'm not speaking as the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Mines. I'm rather speaking as a project manager, a citizen of this country, and the convener for the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey and the Media Coalition Against Galamsey. That's what I'm doing here. My slides. So you see that even my topic will change. The topic will change. And I'll start castigating you. Let me see by hand those of you who are on social media. Social media. Right. Good. Wow. Okay, let me see by hand those who are not on social media. Okay, no hand went up, so all of you are. How many of you have posted anything about illegal mining? And what do we do? Just a few hands. So, my slide. Okay. Don't do that. Then I should speak extra. That one. Right, so again, as I said, my topic is going to change. My topic is changing. Again, so as an engineer, project manager, you always have to have regardless, so. And so, my topic has changed. I'm looking at, instead of what the long English that was read out, now I'm looking at project management, I'm looking at the issues around Galamsey and the way we're going to be able to solve it. If that is going to happen, then the docility of the middle class has to stop. And that docility includes you and I, all of us sitting in this room. We are the reason why we are where we are as a country. It is because of you and I, the middle class. Those of us who say we are not part of all of this, we are the reason why we're where we are. Because we will not talk. Why we do that, I'm not too sure. Fortunately for us, Guzi has set the tone for us. Our jobs as project management, everything we do is supposed to be national development. So that's what project management should do. I'm one of the believers of project management being about impact and not outcomes. But Guzi has moved it to the other level. He says we have to be change makers. And every time we manage a project, we deliver a program, it ought to be about change. It ought to be about national development. The slides are not going to come. Let me take my laptop. Because there are graphical things I need to show you. So I will not be able to paint that picture for you without it. But we know what has caused the challenge with our water bodies and all of that. And so when we define Galamsey is coined after gather and sell. Gather them and sell. And we've been mining long before, Vasco da Gama and co came into our shores, and we know what to do with gold. But unfortunately for us, now we've moved into the avenue of So Galamsey, when it was outlawed, was really not irresponsible. So for me, in looking at this particular topic, I want to look at it as illegal and irresponsible mining. That's the focus of that's how I would define Galamsey as. Illegal and irresponsible mining, and anything that
and
you
all
do
of these
that
three rivers
results
have
in
one
that.
thing in common. All
And
of them are
so
golden.
what can we then
All of
do
them are golden.
to
But
ensure
the reason
that
why the person who
deal
posted
with
it said,
this
he says,
of
the
illegal
first
mining?
image is the Leonard River in
can
Russia, the
only
second
do
is the
that
Yukon in
when we
Canada,
go
the
back
last
and look
is
at
the Prague.
what has
Each
been
river has huge deposits of gold. But because of leadership, industrialization, prosperity, law, and ethics, no one minds the Yukon and the Leonard River. So what does that say about us? You and I as project managers, what have we contributed to do? The scale of Galamsey is very, very pervasive. It's in all the regions, apart from fortunately where we are now. But even here, there's
I thought I was going to show you the babies that are deformed, the water bodies that were all bad, but it looks as if. Okay, so the question we want to ask ourselves is that who are we as a people? You know, because. Thank you. So it is said that when you go to war, a group of people who would poison the waters of their enemies, it's considered a grave crime. But what will be said about you and I when we start poisoning our own water? When we invite people in to come and participate in that, deplete all of that and go, how would those people be called? The people who allowed this to happen.
It is because of you and I.
And you are part of them. I am part of them. You know, there's an interesting picture I would have shown you that was posted on social media. It showed three rivers: the Lebanon in Russia, the Yukon in Canada, the last one was the Russian one, and the Canadian one, pristine. And then the Prague. You see what we have done to it. And all of these three rivers have one thing in common. All of them have gold in them. All of them have gold in them. But the reason why the person who posted it said is that he says the first image is the Lena River in Russia, the second is the Yukon in Canada, the last is the Prague. Each river had huge deposits of gold. But because of leadership, industrialization, prosperity, law, and ethics, no one minds in the Yukon and the Lena River. So what does that say about us? You and I as project managers, what have we contributed to do it? The scale of Galamsey is very, very pervasive. It's in all the regions, apart from fortunately where we are now. But even here, there's sand winning happening in the Volta Basin and being done wrongly. There are even people who are now beginning to do fish farming and using a lot of steroids and all of that. But the mineral one has not been that bad. Professor Gordon calls Galamsey a wicked one. And so it requires a lot of research and a multifaceted approach to doing it. And unfortunately for you and I, Galamsey, in terms of its effects, it has no color. The people who are dying, the woman who just left, woke up in the morning, went to nature's hall in Congo, and died. That young man from Gay University finished all his work, was just going home and come back for dissertation, died in the pit. Nobody knows what political power is. So whether it's the 24-hour economy from Guzi, or it's the one district, one factory from somebody else, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so we need to deal with it as project managers, and we need to be very deliberate when we deal with it. And understanding the challenge of it and its impact is important.
the whole issues around climate change, biodiversity loss, environmental pollution, the health implications. And for me, one of the big things now for me is the national health, the national security implications. So you have the situation that happened in Abrewa Ninkrai in Jerusalem. You have situations where now when you go into these communities, the Galamseyers have brought people in who are heavily armed to provide security. They don't speak our language. So when they are dealing with you, they are brutal. They cannot relate with you. They are very, very heavily armed. And they come and get the gold. The price of gold is now over $3,000. And so then they can go and get more arms and come in. And so you look at what happened in Mali. The coup that happened in Mali was a product of things around natural resources. And so that is what we are happening. And so for me, you see, what I would ask the president is that for his own selfish, reasons of maintaining his presidency, we need to deal with this. The Minister for Land says that this is terrorism. The IGP said, we are more. If we really are, how did America respond to 9/11? How are we responding to it? We are allowing these people to grow and become powerful. If you're not careful, what they are going to do is that they will take a small concession somewhere, take a couple of them. By the time you see they've taken a district, and you and I will all be victims of it. So it's important that we deal with this particular challenge that faces us. We definitely are facing an unprecedented environmental crisis, something we have never seen before, and a lot of it is due to this illegal and irresponsible mining. The rivers are polluted, all of them. There's a lot of mercury that is going in there. Ghana has banned the importation of mercury, but mercury still comes into our country, Ghana. How is that happening? Recently, one of the large-scale miners saw a lot of cyanidation taking place by their mines. Unfortunately, they were able to get the military to come and get them out. When they were leaving, their workers were leaving, the people were stoning them. If cyanide and if mercury and arsenic and lead are bad, wait till cyanide gets into our water bodies. And another question I want all of us to ask ourselves, the fact that it is clean does not mean it is clear. Do you know whether Ghana water, the water they are treating, whether they're able to deal with the heavy metals that are in them? Do you know? Do you know? Even if you are like those of them who are deciding that they will import water from wherever, Evian and all of that. When they bath, would they bath that? Assuming that they have enough to be able to buy for their cooking. But when they bath, what happens to them? The pollution of our water bodies has led to sometimes where Ghana Water will shut its treatment plants. Because instead of those treatment plants treating water, what they are treating is not water. And we know the challenges with that. And so we really need to deal with this. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources reported that 44 of our forest reserves, about 5,500 hectares of land, forest reserves are gone. And if you want to look at it, it's about 7,500 football fields. That's what is gone. And you know what? For you to be able to reclaim 1 hectare of that land, it cost us $40,000. So do the math for yourself, 5,500 times $40,000. How much of that gold, those irresponsible gold, have we got the resources for? Reuters reported recently that for the last 5 years, $11.4 billion is what Ghana has lost due to smuggling. You think that if the 5 years we had 11.5 billion would have gone through the haircuts, DDP would have happened? And so this is the cost of this. It's really a major cost to us. Our fertile lands are going, it's caused the collapse of several communities, and it poses major risk to all of us. I had major pictures I was going to show you of the forest reserve, and you would have seen the destruction that would have been done. So in the Ashanti region, for example, there are 14 of the forest reserves that are gone. Western North has 12. Western region has 11. Upper East has 4. Eastern region 2, Savannah has 1. That makes the total forest reserves that are gone. So you look at Apramprama Forest Reserve, and you see the damage that has been done. Heritage Imperial were given prospecting licenses. They went into that, and Heritage Imperial, limited liability company. I remember I had told everybody about that. No, nobody's dealing with them, and even now I don't know whether we're dealing with them. They were given a prospecting license. They went with 36 excavators into the forest. The engineers who are here, who goes to do prospecting with excavators? But that's what has happened. And we all know where they are. Who was their lawyer, so far as that is concerned? If you go and look at Professor Frepo Boate's report, it is stated in there. The lawyer had so much power. And there's some pictorial evidences of the Paprama forest that if you look at, and you see the rate at which the destruction is going on, it is so bad now that you don't even need drone footage to be able to capture it. You don't, if you go to Google, you take any of the Google maps, it will show you the extent of the damage that we're doing. That is how bad it has become. You go into the Tanarian Forest Reserve, there's a lot of damage that has also been done in there. Then the Tanonime Forest Reserve, the famous Tanonime Forest Reserve. That is where Akonta Mining went into to do the destruction in 2022. Not only did the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources then say he did not have the right to go in there, and the Minerals Commission then also confirmed it. But even outside the Tanonime Forest Reserve, where he had a concession, there's a buffer policy that says that there should be some distance between where you mine and the Tano River. He was polluting that. There's ample evidence for that. I remember sitting on the platform with His Excellency President Nanado then in Koforidua, and I asked him just when this thing had happened. I asked him what was happening to it. I remember his infamous response to me that Akonta Mining was not involved in Galamsey as we speak. And my question to him was not as we speak, was about the fact that something had been done in the past. And so it is really important that we deal with it. The challenge of Galamsey, apart from leadership, is the fact that the firefighters themselves have become the arsonists. Let that sink in. The firefighters are the arsonists. That is our problem. And for me, one of the major developments that have happened in recent times is the call by the Attorney General for an investigation of two of NDC's political party. And I think that's a positive one. But if we just leave it at that, trust me, in the past, we saw it when one of the investigative journalists did some work. What did we see? The police took it, and then they will come back and say nothing is wrong. So we need to make sure that in this particular case, that is not going to happen. And so again, the question I would ask is that why is it that Akonta Mining was arrested? But the two, we are asking for investigations. Why is that so? So we need to make sure that the right things are done. And the only way that would happen is when professional bodies like yourself don't keep quiet. If you do, so you have Wasada there, and our cocoa is dying because of all the things that have happened. Because of Galamsey, you know where we are. We used to do 1 million tons, it is gone. And it's sad that, you look at just across us. So we are not too different from the people in Cote d'Ivoire, are we? There's some relate. So how is it that we in Ghana, we do the things we're doing, but the people in Cote d'Ivoire are not doing what they are doing? So we should go. Let's go down. So that the slides are up. Next slide. Hey, that's what stop, sir. What stop? Hey, over ato. So our cocoa industry is really gone. And there's a picture you have seen there. You will see a picture of a cocoa tree that is almost horizontal. But you know what they do? They come into your cocoa farm, they ask you they want to buy it. If you don't give it to them, then what they will do is that they will dig your cocoa land, will become an island. And there's a lot of our people who are suffering that. But the interesting thing, there's a law in Ghana that says that you can't do that to economic trees. So our country, there's not an absence of law. So then a major issue is the issue of loss of revenue to our governments. These Galamseyers, they don't pay any taxes. I've told you about the famous 11.4 billion that we have lost. There's a lot of encroachment also onto the legal, and it's not only large-scale miners. So they even encroach upon small-scale miners, their concessions. There is one of the large-scale mining firms, the encroachment that has happened there, Ghana is going to lose for the past 2 years, $250 million is what we're losing. $250 million. So the impact is not only on individuals, but also on us. And the cost of cleaning, I've told you about the amount of money we need to do to clean. And then the health burden. The fact that now renal diseases are on the high. So the doctors will tell you that I think somewhere in the Ashanti region, the data they are looking at now tells us that the age at which people are getting the renal diseases has come low. And now they're seeing the tendencies of... So,
And most
So
of them, when the
really
thing
have
happens
engaged
among the Galamseyers,
and you also
the
should
things
ask
they're doing, they think that somebody
they are
was
asking for cessation of mining, forest
as
of the
they say,
water bodies,
but there's nobody
revoking the
doing it.
licenses, and then as I
And
mentioned,
then
following
the
from
issues, you know that recently when they
the
went to
deployment of the military, not only
the
that,
level
you
of
know, for me,
bread
the
that they
forest
see
guard
there,
should also be
the drug
militarized so
abuse
that
that
they'll be
is
able to
happening in
fight
those communities,
these people
really
well.
significant.
Next slide.
The issues of teenage
I think we're coming
pregnancy,
to
the
it.
kids that
And I think for me, this is one of the best things that have happened to the
impacts
Galamsey.
that are very
The
significant.
politically exposed people. They are the elephants in the room.
The issue of
And this
water
one
is
is
one of the
possible.
things that
I'm
got
just
us
praying that the
back
Attorney General will do it.
BMI to last year.
Yes, if they are innocent, they are innocent.
State,
Yeah, most of them are
you know
playing their
that
innocent,
the
but what they're
WHO
doing
says that for
And I'm
water
saying that before the Attorney General will say this,
the
I'm sure there's something in there
be
that is done. So this is important. It's not only this. Me and the NPC MP for Awen, he's been mentioned.
But we
The NPC constituency chairperson for Aksum, he's been mentioned. The NPC constituency chairperson for Oluwa, he was caught on tape telling the military people that come to do the work, why are you coming in? The law says if he facilitates. So all of those things should be done. And most importantly, for Safran Martin's report. The names that have been mentioned in there, fortunately the AG said they should look into that. So for me, this is the thing that gives me hope. The fact that the president has done it, and we've heard it. On several occasions says that there will be no order from above. So the Attorney General, please deal with that. Next slide.
They are recording 19,000.
Okay, so I think all of this I have said already. So thank you very much. The most important thing is that I'm hoping that by the time you leave this room, your attitudes will change. This is about yourself. It's not about your children. It is about yourself. You're very surviving. It's about the next few weeks, the next water you drink. Thank you very much.
You would have seen Abombe, what is happening in Abombe, on the thing, the number of the intake times that they were so close to the intake point that the Ghana water people were.
The conference continues, and this part of the conference has been the open part of the.
And if you fly from Accra to Takrady, and you fly above the estuary, you will see it. It's very clear that to the extent that now even we are polluting the water body, the river, the sea itself. So not only have the people who fish have lost their livelihood, but also the artisanal fishers who go on to and do, you know what the fancy is called chiwi, they now are not getting it because all those sites are also polluted. And so we have a few people who are deciding that they would take the mineral wealth, but then when I was going to St. Augustine's College, when you left Cape Coast and you're going to Takrady, when you get to Mposo on that bridge, there are a lot of people who are fishing on that. It's completely gone. Those industries are completely gone. And once that is gone, those who also trade in it also would suffer it. So, there was another picture I was going to show to you. Are you not able to move? It's moving. So please, let's go. There's a point that says viewer discretion is, So, okay, so all of these were the pictures of some. This is the cocoa trio. That's there. Let's go. Let's move. Let's make movements. Okay, so these are the water bodies. Let's move on the water bodies as well. Yes, so, okay. Next. Yes, so this is Ankobra, the estuary in Ankobra. And there was a story told, there was a news item about some of the women around those areas. You know how they treat their water to cook their cheke that some of you buy? Huh? All they do is they take alum, put the alum in it, sedimentation takes place. Who told you the heavy metals would go down with the sediments? And they take the water out, and they use that in cooking your cheke. And you eat it. And you're sitting and you don't do anything about it. It's about yourself. Let's look at the next slide. Okay, so this is 2024, October, after Operation Halt, when there was a clamor and then it was said that they removed the people. A few days after that, the Chamfans were back. And the Chamfans are still back. So if you are not consistent about it, that's why I agree with Dr. Tony Edu when he says that we need to be able to take the military, implant them in there and keep them in there, so that they are able to deal with it. I think that we should militarize our forest guards so that they can match them. Next slide. Okay, so this is why I say viewer discretion is. I was going to show you. So this is what's happening in Galamsey.
And you know the sad thing about this picture is that they like it when these things happen. They think that when people die in the pits, they get more gold. That's the sad part of it. So we need to change the attitudes of our people. There were some pictures I was going to show, but those pictures I was not going to give to anybody. So I told them that if I was not going to present from my laptop, I was not going to show that. So I'll show them from here. You might not see them, but So these are pictures of deformed babies. Deformed babies. So they've been put in petri dishes, and they are there. The first one was a picture of a child that is born without genitalia. No genitalia. 2 hands, 4 legs. Died. When they did the postmortem, the level of heavy metals in the bone marrow. So this is not a joke. So this is another child. No, I don't want you to film it. That's why I didn't give it to anybody. So this is a picture of also somebody who has got stage 4 kidney disease. When the thing was happening, he thought that, somebody has done him. When they did the postmortem and you see the kidneys as if it's been cooked. Yes, and that's all Galamsey. This is a picture of a child. It's 6 weeks old. This child was killed by the parents. The father killed the child wanting blood. Unfortunately for us, there was a pathologist who was called and it was mentioned to him. So when he was told about it, he told them that they should keep the baby. By the time he went to Seshi, they had buried the child at the Seshi government hospital. He had to call the IGP then, Dampari, for them to force an exhumation. But you know what God had done? They used formaldehyde to wrap the baby so the baby did not decompose. So that case is still being investigated. We need to look. This is a father that decided that they should kill the child. Because when the postmortem was done and all of that, was sharp objects that was pushed in there. So our country is not for lack of laws. These are our laws that exist to be able to police it. So it's not for the lack of laws. And again, why is it that we decided that Act 995, when we strengthened the laws against Galamsey, and we decided that if a foreigner engages in Galamsey, what you do is that you prosecute the foreigner, and then when you are done with, he serves a sentence before you deport him. How is our minister for Interior telling us that when the foreigners are caught, their prisons are so bad, we Ghanaians can go in there, but they should leave? And what are you all doing about that? You see, so now your country is ready for Galamsey. They will come. Do it. When you finish, you give them a free, one free pass back into to where they came from. And the thing is that we have evidence of it. Aishawan, what happened? Aishawan, we thought we had deported her. She was back in here. You see, so the people who do the same thing, expecting different results, how do they call them? Next slide. So, again, so I say, I'm very emphatic about that it is leadership failure that has caused all of this. And the leadership failure is not leadership at the top. It's you. You and I. We have caused this thing to happen. Because we are quiet, or some of you are involved. There might be people even here. You see them big men, nice men, yeah. But there are people buying the excavators. One excavator is $200,000. You know why? So now they know that the Minister for Lands is really at their back. So now they are mining aggressively. Mining aggressively, $200,000, they will get it in a few days. So after they've done that and they've gotten their $1 million gold out of that, when you come and burn it, they're fine. That's the gamble they are taking. So we need to fix it. The lack of political will has been one of the major things. We poisoning ourselves, the need for accountability. We as citizens should hold those who are responsible for it. And then the fact that it transcends political colors, we mentioned it. And the sad thing, our colonial masters were not that wicked. They were not that wicked. They came, they knew that there was gold in the rivers. They didn't take it. But you and I, this is what we are doing to ourselves. Post-independence, what Nkrumah said was that, so for you, the miners, go underground, though the rest of them who want to work can work on top. But we've decided that we're going to come on top. Even when we come on top, we won't live and let others live. Next slide. So we need to fill this leadership gap. So we need to, like what happened after September last year, the clarion call, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources is inviting all of us to support the fight. And we need to do it. I can tell you based on the information I have that he is being frustrated, both within and without. Should I give you evidence? The Speaker of Parliament himself said he knew people in Parliament who were involved in it. When the minister went there to go and make a presentation, an MPP parliamentarian he will get pressure from both NDC and MPP. You know what has happened this time? In 2016, 2017, there was a criminal takeover. So the NDP, when they came into power, said, yes, so we have taken over. Unfortunately for you, in 2024 and 2025, that's not what has happened. There's a criminal measure that has happened. So now the NDC have 60, 70%. Because ask yourself, where did the excavators come from in this, It was there already. They were using it already. Some people had it. So that's what has happened. So even those who are beginning to fight it, the IGP, the minister, they are having major, major issues to be able to deal with it. And so if we all don't support it, we'll be in trouble. We are at a crossroad. And again, we are at a crossroad because the only person who can solve this problem is the president. But the only president who can really solve this problem is this current president. He has been in power before. He did not need too many people to support his campaign to win elections. And he does not need anybody after his next 4 years. So he's the best person to solve this problem. Unfortunately, he does not have 4 years. After 2 years, they will start clamoring for his position. When they start clamoring for his position, everything will be thrown to the dogs. I'm telling you, it's not prophecy. It's because we've seen it before. Nanado started very well. But when we're getting close to the 2020 elections, everything went to the dogs. And after that one, they're young concra. So we need to deal with it now. So professionals are morally trying to uphold accountability and sustainable development. And, Guzi has told all of us what we need to do. Our project management should lead to national development. And this is one of the biggest things. There's no way we are going to be able to get any prosperity happening in here when we continue doing the things that we are doing. So you as technocrats, environmental professionals, institutions like project management, you have been too silent. You have been too silent. Your work, again, as Guzi said, is not only about the technical part of project management. It is not only the outcomes that you are thinking about. It is about the impact. And again, so it is leadership that is required. Next slide. Next slide. So we need to really make sure that we are pushing for the policies. And again, it's good that we are having a review of our laws and all of that is happening. But it is important that we get regulatory independence. One of the major challenges we've had in the past and continues to be with us. You find out that in all our laws, you will see a particular point where the minister is supposed to give policy directives. In the past, it was stated that the minister may give policy directives and the board, the regulatory board, may take them. Now we've changed them. I think it was under the Kufuor regime that we did it. So now it states that the minister may give policy directive and the board shall. And unfortunately, some of these ministers, it's no more policy directive. It's day to day. Day to day. You've heard a story about the number of people who are given licenses. You think those licenses were given just by the regulator? How is it that when it came to the forest reserve, when that obnoxious LI was passed, all the people we saw were politically exposed persons, and you think that decision was based on a regulator choosing it? It's the politicians who are giving those directions. It's the same thing that we do when it comes to the telecom sector. Look at the radio stations and all of that. Look at the history of it. When the party comes, you just look at it. When the party is in government, you see that it is only one party who gets licenses for radio. When it changes, that's how it goes. So we need to deal with that. And the people who can deal with that are you, the professionals. We need to change that part of our laws. It's not only about Galamsey, but it's everything else. So we need to make sure that we're involving the community members. And I think that's also one of the good things that this current minister is talking about. The fact that we're changing the way the licenses are going to be given. And then we would involve the people from the grassroots. We need good governance and a good political will. We should draw lessons from those who have dealt with illegal mining well, the local communities. And there's a critical role that influential figures can play. And so this, again, with the millennials, so if we can get the influencers also pushing this particular agenda, that is something that would also help. Next slide. So For me, I think the first one is a very important one. Now, one of the things that this government has done that is tackling the problem well, and we're beginning to even see the incidents coming down, is the fact that excavators are being controlled now. So now, before you bring an excavator in, it's being tracked. Minerals Commission, DVLA are doing that. What we have is the 7,000 excavators that are in the field. Those of you who manage construction projects, you know that definitely for us as a country, we don't need 7,000 excavators. What roads are we building in Ghana that you need? How many excavators do you need for a road? You know? So for me, one of my first prescriptions, and the president has said it, the only thing is I'm not seeing the action to it. All MCs and DCs, they are the district and the municipal security chiefs. They control security in those communities. In the past, they even were the district or municipal mining committee chairpersons. So the president has said that it's going to be a KPI for them. Let's see that, and let's involve all of. So when we see Galamsey happening in a community, you the police chief, you the DC MC, there are two things that are happening. It's either you are incompetent, and if you are incompetent, what do you do? For a project manager, what do you do to incompetent people who work on your team? You fire them. But the sad bit, the incompetent ones is fine. But the sad bit is that they are complicit. It's either they are incompetent or they are complicit. If they are complicit, go back and look at Act 995. It says that if you facilitate illegal mining and you're Ghanaian 15 years, put them in jail. So MC, DC, police commander, do that and begin to do that. And that's why I'm hoping that these two that have been called, I know they are Ghana, they say you are innocent until proven guilty. That's why for me, I think the state of emergency is important too. If you declare a state of emergency, you can turn that thing upside down, and they will have to come and prove that they are innocent. You know? So we need to do that. And the excavator issues, I think we are in the point of taming them. And then Professor Gordon then prescribes good governance when he says good governance, harnessing traditional authority, alleviating poverty, nature-based solutions, and the mindset. We need to change the mindset of our people. And you, PMI, you have a critical role to play. Next slide. You have a critical role to play. So again, this was when I was thinking project management. When I was looking at project management, I was coming to talk to people. So I put a few things there in terms of what we need to do for project management. And then my aha moment came and I said, Charlie, let me throw that aside and come and deal with that. So you've seen this one. We need to take these things as projects and actually scope them properly. Make sure we do our stakeholder analysis properly and make sure we're delivering on them. Because unfortunately, if you're not careful, what then tends to happen is that even the project that you've given to restoration now becomes an opportunity for people to do the illegal things. And then, so if we're dealing with them as project management, we're looking at the deliverables. And if you're a project manager that is looking at impact rather than just outcome, if you're a project manager who's following Guzi's call that says that that project you're managing should be a national development plan, then you make sure that you put that well. Make sure that, next slide, make sure that you've looked at all the things that need to be done so far as our restoration strategy is concerned. Next slide. Okay, so we definitely need to make sure that this whole issues of getting into the restoration is properly structured as a project. One of the ideas that have come is that some of these are river bodies, and I know it's one of the things that government is looking into. They are looking into clearing down Cobra so that they can put a barge on it that transports, things from the port all the way. Once you are doing that, what will happen is that it would help you to be able to deal with it. But in all of that, let's use our project management methodologies to make sure that it is done and done very properly. A very critical part of project management in all of this is the issue of stakeholder engagement. Because it's also one of the things that happen. We don't engage the people well enough to make sure that we are carrying them along. And the baselines have to be done. It's one of the things that when we met the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, when the President said he should meet us, we've asked for. What is the current state of our water bodies? What is the current state? We need that information, and we need to be monitoring that, because you can use that to mimic what actually is happening. And so what are the baselines that we're taking? Let's move. Next slide. Next slide. As on slide number, what friend if you baby answer no abo. Okay, so again, the whole issues around the risk, identifying the risk and mitigating the risk, because the people, they are very powerful. The people who are involved in this, very, very powerful people. One of the major challenges that just stared me in the face was the Galamsey that is happening in Takwa. The Takwa Galamsey is not in the river bodies. A lot of these large-scale miners left the underground pits, and now they are mining overground. And these people have gone down. And you see, for those of you who are into mining, you know, there are pillars that they leave in there. And those pillars are made out of rock. And they could have gold in them, but they are left. But currently, you know what they are doing? When they go and see, they will cut it. Then they have wooden planks that they will take there to go and support it. And so there's a major, major challenge. Can you imagine when the whole Takwa township sinks? What was going to happen? Recently, one of the incidents happened. Over 40 people died in those places. So in being able to deal with these issues, we need to look at the risk and make sure we have a risk mitigating strategy that we would do to be able to deal with them. Make sure the social and environmental impacts are properly done and factored into it, get the feedbacks going in. Let's go. Next slide. I'm not sure I'm doing too well with my schedule, so let me deal with it too properly. You know, so we make sure that we get the KPIs properly done, and again, that should be a product of all the stakeholder engagement, all the knowledge that we have. Again, this whole issue of the restoration, it should be multifaceted from various areas that we need to do. You know, we need to make sure that our targets for the restoration, and when you are restoring, not only is the flora that you're dealing with, you need to also be dealing with the fauna. You need to make sure that the animals that were there before, how are you going to be able to bring them back into the spaces that they are in there? And the issue is about livelihood. It's about livelihood. But unfortunately, Galamsey is not a livelihood issue. It's a greed issue. If you like go into those communities and say, if you're a laborer, I'll give you 150 cedis, you think they will take it? They won't take it. So it is the greed. But you know an interesting thing? In the mining sector consume about 40 million worth of activated carbon every year. 40 million. You know what activated carbon comes from? Coconut. So if we decided that we're going to start an activated carbon project in this country, anchor tenants would be the mining community. You know, they will buy it. So that's 40 million demand that you have. So you start from planting. And you know the interesting thing, an acre of land, today with the price of Galamsey where gold is, you might get $5,000, $6,000 out of it. But after you've done that, within a few minutes, that is gone. An acre of coconuts would give you $4,000 in the third year for the next 30 to 40 years. And if you have it such that you are not growing the coconut for only you and I who would drink, but it's also going to go into activated carbon that have 40 million anchor tenants that is sitting in Ghana, and that you have mining companies around us, and based on after we'll also be able to export that in there. That is the business that you want to be able to do. Don't talk about avocado. Avocado will give you 6,000. So there are some difficult decisions that we need to take, and leadership needs to take them. Next steps. Next slide. So the engagement with the local communities is very, very important. There's a community in the eastern region. I keep on forgetting the name of the community. But they have a water body there called Esuboni. And Esuboni is still pristine. They don't have a male chief. It's a woman who's a chief. And decided that she and her community, they won't do Galamsey. And the water is clean. You go to Gemma. Gemma has a frail chief who's not even well. Working together with some priests, Father Blay and all of that, they've decided that they're pushing Galamsey back. So when I see some of these are big chiefs, and they tell us that it's because government has taken power from them, you go there and say you want to even go and share money to the people. If you don't go and see the chief, whether you'll be able to share the money. So it's not true. That hype, we shouldn't believe it. If they decide, and again, I agree, so today the government is agreeing to involve them. I think it's great. Let's bring them in, but we need to have controls. Because some of the chiefs, they take the royalties and all of that. We don't see what they do with it. So we need to do that and make sure that we have a structured way in which we're doing this. Another thing that we talk about when it talks about community engagement, and Guzi, it's one of the things we should tell the minister, tell the president. We failed with community mining because what happened was that the politicians just took that to continue Galamsey in another way. And so now that we are saying we're going to do cooperative, you see the interesting thing. One is C, the other one is still C. If we don't do it differently, the same plight that came. So we should make sure that the cooperative mining, they are registered. So, and they should be registered as a company limited by shares. You know, and so that you know who the owners are. So in the community, it's not only Omahini alone, but they know who the owners are. And they have accounts that they can declare. And so that if they do the right thing, they share the benefits amongst everybody. It is very, very important so that we can engage everybody. And for me, cooperative community mining, make sure that ownership is for the people in the community. The people who bring some money to be able to do it, give them a bit of the shares in it. The assembly that is in the community, give them a bit of it. The environment, the restoration of it. Every large-scale mine you see, there's a bond that has been posted. So if they finish the mining and they are not able to reclaim it, that money will be used to be able to do it. Same thing, put some money aside so that you can use that to be able to do that. And make sure that the returns that come out of that, after you've shared it for all of that, there's a portion that you give to the community that is going to go into developmental projects that is based on stakeholder engagement, and they decide this is what they are going to do. Next slide. These ones, you know them already. So in conclusion, we face an ecological crisis that has poisoned all our waters, but it requires you to change your attitude should change right from here. And again, the tone was set for us by Guzi. Your project management should be national development. One of the national development imperatives is to deal with this. Next slide. It's concluding, but it doesn't conclude. There's an epilogue. Those of you who are old, remember when GBC, the close of the day, they would do epilogue. So there's epilogue. Oh. Please, let's go to epilogue. Shall I? You are using 0G. We are now in 5G, so okay. So the call to action, it's a declaration of a state of emergency. It is important. Declaration of a state of emergency into some particular areas. We should repeal and not amend LI 2462. The pact, we signed a pact with the president, and we want the president to go by the pact. If you look at the manifesto promises of both the NDC and NPP, good ideas in there, we should implement it. Restoration of the ecosystem is important. Next slide. Next slide. Right, so again, fortunately for us, you see what this picture in there. The president has not been listening to my call about the state of emergency. But fortunately, the president says that Galamsey is now a national emergency. So now all we are asking the president to do, he should change the national, put the states in front, and declare the state of emergency in particular areas. The river bodies that have Galamsey on them, forest reserves like Abriwa and Ninkrai and all of the particular places, not even the whole district. And so that we give our people special powers. You know, in the UK, when the riots happened, they had courts that within 24 hours, they would sentence you. So that's where we need to do. And you know the way America treated, next slide, they treated terrorism once 9/11 happened. We need the same attitude towards that. The president should listen to the likes of Tony Edu. He should listen to the likes of the EPA boss, who wants 6 choppers to be able to go into those places. Next slide. Okay. So we have engaged the government as a coalition, and you also should add your voice to them. We are asking for a cessation of mining in forest reserves on the water bodies, revoking the license, and then, as I mentioned, following from the, Dr. Tony Edu's thing, deployment of the military, and not only that. For me, the forest guards should also be militarized so that they will be able to fight these people as well. Next slide. I think we are coming to an end. And I think for me, this is one of the best things that have happened to the Galamsey fight. The politically exposed people. They are the elephants in the room. And this one is positive. I'm just praying that the Attorney General will do a thorough work. Yes, if they are innocent, they are innocent. Yeah, both of them have claimed they are innocent, but what else do you expect? And I'm saying that before the Attorney General will say this, I'm sure there's something in there that is done. So this is important. It's not only these people. The NDC MP for Awen, he's been mentioned. The NDC constituency chairperson for Axim, he's been mentioned. The NDC constituency chairperson for Dunkwa, he was caught on tape telling the military people that have come to do the work, why are you coming here? The law says if you facilitate, you also, all of those things should be done. And most importantly, for Safran Paul Boateng's report, the names that have been mentioned in there, fortunately, the AG said they should look into that. So for me, this is the thing that gives me hope. The fact that the president has done this. And we've heard him on several occasions says that there will be no order from above. So the Attorney General, please deal with that. Next slide. Okay, so I think all of this I have said already. So thank you very much. The most important thing is I am hoping that by the time you leave this room, your attitudes will change. This is about yourself. It's not about your children. It is about yourself. Your very survival. It's about the next meal you eat, the next water you drink. Thank you very much, and God richly bless us.
Ladies and gentlemen, Engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashigbey.